Hi everyone, welcome back to Guide to SolidWorks. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Today what we are going to be looking at is some Model Mania. Now, I've been wanting to do this for a while. It's a set of tutorials that are done through SolidWorks, and they look at creating some reasonably complex models in parts. They make you create a sort of phase one model, and then you're asked them to alter it to meet some requirements. So this is what we're going to have a go at today. So we're going to run through creating the phase one model and progressing on to the alterations for the phase two model. And we'll go through the whole process for Model Mania 2019. I'm going to look at producing some more videos based on the older ones as well. But I thought we'd be a good starting point to start with the most recent, the 2019 version. So let's pop on to SolidWorks and let's have a look at how we're going to model this. Okay, so following this tutorial then, we are going to start off by creating some circles. I'm going to start drawing on this right plane here. So right plane, I'm going to sketch on there, and I'm going to create a circle. Now that circle is going to be offset from my central point here. So I'm going to go across, and I'm going to set a distance with that construction line of 22. Now from there, I'm going to put some circles attached to this endpoint. So my first one is going to be 10 diameter. My second one is going to be 16 diameter. And my final one is going to be 30 diameter, like so. What I'm going to do from there is I am going to create a line here, vertical line, and I'm going to make that a relationship with the end point, and I'm going to make it a midpoint relationship there between the end of that construction line and this line I've created vertically. And I'm going to set the size to that of 24, and that will extend out the same amount from each side of that center point. Now once I've got that, I'm going to get a line, and I'm going to make it tangential to this point here. So hover over it, like so. And we should now get a line that stays tangential. So all I've done there is I've hovered over it, I've clicked it, and I should get a line that stays tangential, like so. And I should be able to do the same again. Hovering over, run the line away, and again create another tangential line. Oh, it's locked there. Let's try that one again. Click the line, hover over the circle, click on, drag the line away. One more go. And as you can see there, we've got a tangential relationship. Okay, there we go. So we've got this shape here. Now this shape is what I want to extrude. So I'm going to go Features, Extrude, and I'm going to extrude that 70, but I'm going to extrude these features. So I don't need to get rid of everything. I don't need to trim it all away. I can keep the whole drawing and just extrude them contours of that sketch that I've created. So what that means is I can keep the rest of the sketch, and I can use that again later. I'm going to extrude that about mid-plane, and I'm going to make that 70, like so, and tick that. Okay, so I've got now is the bar, a single bar effectively with the hole through the center. Now I'm going to use the sketch again. So if I just do the drop down there and use sketch 1, and this time I'm going to create a cut. Now I'm going to use the cut of this selected area here and that there. Okay, so I've just selected them sketches inside that. So I'm reusing that first sketch I've created. Now again, I don't want to go all the way through. I'm going to go mid plane again, but this time I'm only going to go 50. Okay, tick there, and that should get rid of all that centerpiece, leaving me with that curved surface at the bottom. Okay, now I've got that. What I will notice on the drawing is that we have an angle here on the outside face coming up at 5 degrees. So I'm going to create what we call a draft angle coming up there. So on my features, I've got a draft function. Now I'm going to change that to 5 degrees, like so. I'm going to draft from that bottom plane. However, I'm going to draft up. So I'm going to flip the direction, like so. So the arrow is going up. And the size that I want to draft is this outside one here and this one here. Okay, so that's what we're selecting here. So I've got the angle, the face I'm drafting from, which is at a right angle to the ones I'm going to draft, and then the faces that I would like to draft. If I apply that, it'll apply it onto the surface. And now if I move so that you can see this face on, you'll see now that we've got a 5 degree angle coming up from the outside there. Okay. So the last main part to this is the hole through the bottom. And this is going to be done using the hole wizard. So I come to hole wizard up here at the top, click on there. Now for this, I'm going to be using the ANSI metric. So the metric value. Again, I'm going to be using the counterbore. So the counterbore is the shape of the hole that I'd like. I will be using a pan slot head. Sorry, not a pan, this is a button one. So a socket button head cap screw is what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to use that one. And it's 6 mil, so an M6. It's going to be a normal to fit, and it's going to be through all, so it's going to go all the way down through. Now, once I've specified that, I want to position it. So if I go to position here, it will now let me position on to this shape here. Now my issue is it's going to position it as a 3D sketch. So if I click on that surface, it's going to position it on that surface. Okay, which will be at the lowest point of the curve where I've selected. Now that's fine, but I want it smack bang in the center of here. So if I look at the top view, I want that point there to have a relationship to that because that's in the center of that face. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to make it along axis Z. Now it highlights here because that's the one that comes vertically up. So click that and it'll move it on line with each other. And you can see now that it's perfectly through the center of there. So I'm going to tick that, and I will get my counterbore through the center of the model. Okay, so last part to this then is adding on the radiuses. So putting on the radiuses to this, or the fillets. So I'm going to use the fillet tool here, and the fillet from all edges is a R2, radius 2mm fillet. So I'm going to click fillet there. I'm going to change this to 2. And then I'm going to select the edges that I want to fillet. Sorry. that one, and that one there, like so. And then I've got my fillets on there. Okay. So from there, I'm just going to tick at the top, and that's put my 2mm fillet on all the way around. So that's phase one completed. So if we just pop to the drawings, this is phase one. So that is that completed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to progress on to phase two, which is this one. Now phase two, just going to zoom in, has a few alterations. Now within this model, I am going to change anything that is in a a red bubble. So that's all the changes that I have to make. So let's start off with these and let's talk it through first. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to look at creating this radius around this outer edge on both sides. So that's one thing. The second thing, I'm going to have to create these two slots, so these two counterbores going through. I'm going to have to create an angle on the inside here. So I've now got an angle going through. Now I've got a 50mm offset as we did before, but it's set from the center of the two circles rather than the bottom. But I've got an angle there coming up of 8 degrees. So I'm going to have to put an 8-degree draft on that as well. And once I've done that changes to the model, I am then also going to have to run a simulation on this as well, where I apply 1000 newtons to each of them two holes with it fixed at the back. Okay, so let's run through this. First of all, before we get started with modeling or changing these model parts, I'm just going to apply a material. Now the material is set here at the bottom. It's the same material for both, but I'll just apply it now before I move any further. So, going back to the SolidWorks, I'm just going to come down to select material or material here, right click, and all of the materials that you use for any of the model manias are always in the favorites list here. So I'm after plain carbon steel. So I'm just going to tick that and that'll apply that material to this. Okay, so let's move on to the modeling then. So within this, what we're going to do is, the first step is to create that curvature on the outside. Now, I could start looking at remodeling it and doing it different, or what I can actually do is roll this model back. So using the bar here at the side, I'm going to roll this back to its basic shape, so just before the draft, like so. As you can see now, I've got it all the way back to the point before I've got any draft angle on, and I have got any fillets on there, all the holes for the bores in the centre, counterbores in the centre. So now I'm at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a curvature on here. So going down to the bottom of the model, I'm going to sketch on there. And I am going to view that from the bottom face. And I'm going to start off with a center rectangle, and I'm going to sketch on the bottom of here, like so. I'm just going to turn the outside lines here to construction lines, like so. And then I'm going to put in a 3-point arc across the top here. So 3-point arc from each end to the top there. Now I'm going to put a radius on that of 30, like so. And I am going to put a relationship between there and the edge, making it tangential. Now I could draw that again, or I can just mirror it across. So I'm going to mirror that across this sketch. So centerline in, mirror entities, click on that arc, and mirror about the centerline there, and I'll add it in at the bottom, like so. Okay. So now I've got that, what I am going to do is I am going to extrude that up. So features, cut extrude. Now, if I extruded that up using that shape, it'd get rid of everything inside. So what I want to do is get rid of all the material on the outside of that shape, leaving me with just a curve around this outside edge. Now, to do that, all I need to do is flip side to cut here. So click flip side to cut, that means it's going to cut anything on the outside of that sketch rather than inside. Tick that. And you can see now we've got that curvature on the outside edge there on both sides. Now from there, what I want to do is I want to make this face here and here actually come in at a draft angle. So that same draft angle as 5 as we had originally. So if I come back out, get hold of this rollback bar, go to the draft, and bring that draft back in. Now it's coming up with an error. The reason it's coming up with an error, if we have a look at it, is it's missing them faces that we had before. So if I click on these outside faces, and they'll replace them too. So if I tick here, it's telling me there's an error, missing faces, but if I just go yes, I want to continue and automatically remove the missing faces, it will do. And it'll draft angle them in each side, like so. Okay, so I'm going to continue this rollback bar. I'm going to move it forwards again, and I'm going to go to the counter bar now. So I've got that there in the center. So I'm going to put in the second one of these. So I'm going to come into there and edit the feature, like so. Now, at the moment, I've got one positioned in the center, so I'm just going to go to positions, and I'm going to drop another one in there. Okay, skip that. Now I've also got this one here, and let's get a relationship with Z. So if I want to delete that relationship across the Z axis, and then I can move that now to wherever I want it. So just move it to there. Now I've got that, I'm going to set up a center line between the center of them two, so a construction line in there. And I'm going to make a relationship there with that being along the x-axis, like so. Okay, so that's now fixed in the x-axis. I am also going to create a relationship up from there to that line. So, get another center line, come from there, draw up to that line, like so. And I'm going to get that line and fix it in the z-axis, like so. So that line's going perfectly up in the z-axis, and that was going across in the x. Now all I need to do now is position that and that line midpoint, like so, and then dimension the distance out for the two components. So if I dimension that 30, let's try that again. Okay, so I'm going to dimension that out to 30, like so, 30. And I will tick there, and that will drop them two features in, like so. Okay, now I've got that. My last bit I need to do is create an angle on this inside face here and here, but it needs to be from that center point there. So I can pick up a point on the center there. I'm going to turn on temporary axes, which would give me the centers of them circles, like so. I am going to find my front plane, and holding control, grabbing a point on the front plane, and drag it up. Give it a second. There we go. So drag that up, and I'm going to click on that temporary axis going through the circle, and just make it parallel to the original plane, like so. Take that. Now dragging that out, I've got that plane in position. So I'm going to do another draft angle, but I'm going to use that plane as my starting position. So draft from plane 1, like so. I want the arrow pointing up, and I am going to change that angle to 8 degrees. And I'm going to do it based on these two inside faces, like so. Apply that, and you can see now I've got an angle acting in there and in there, like so. Tick that, and I'm happy with that. So the last part of this, I'm just going to hide that plane and turn off temporary axes, is to go and put the fillets on. So let's put the fillets back in. Now it's picked up a lot of them, it's remembered where they were, so the ones around here, but it's not remembered the ones around this outside edge. So let's come back, edit that fillet feature, get rid of this warning. Now it's missing edge 1, so I'll delete that. Excuse me. And edge 6. So I'm just going to click around these edges here, put in them fillets again, and tick there. And that finishes off the phase 2 model. So we've now got the model for phase 1 and for phase 2. Now I'm asked 2 questions when I finish modeling. Question 1 is find the factor of safety through the simulation, and question 2 is find the mass of the product. So if I go to evaluate, I can find mass properties here, and I can pick up the mass of this product right about there. Okay, so that gives me the mass of this product once I've finished modeling it. So there you can see. Okay, so now let's play a simulation and let's get the factor of safety for this component. So simulation. Now if your simulation tab's not turned on, you go into SolidWorks add-ins and go to simulation there. Okay, so simulation, new study, and I want to use a static study. So that should already be highlighted. So I'm going to use that one there. And I'm just going to tick at the top. Now for this, I'm going to have a few things. First of all, I need to make sure my material's applied. So I've got plain carbon steel there. Now I've got my material applied, I can apply some fixtures. That's the part on the model where it's going to be fixed to something. So I'm going to get a fixed geometry. I'm going to apply that to the back face there. And tick. The second bit is applying some forces. So I'm going to go to loads, drop that down, and I'm going to put a force on. Now I'm going to put a force on the inner circle there, and the inner circle there, like so. Now once I've done that, I don't want them acting just generally around on the inside of that. I want them all acting upwards. So I'm going to select the direction I want the force acting in. And to select the direction, I need to pick a plane in this case. So I'm going to pick the top plane because that runs through it. And I'm picking the top plane, and I'm going to select that bottom option there. And make sure that the arrows are pointing up. So I've selected that bottom box, but the arrows are pointing down. So I'm just reversing the directions to make them point up. And I'm going to put 1000 newtons in there. Now it says here per item, so that means it's 1000 newtons per bit that I have selected. So 1000 on that side, 1000 on that side, giving me my 2000 altogether. Okay, tick there. Now the last part that I need to do is apply a mesh. So I'm going to create a mesh for this model. Now, in an earlier video, I've been through the processes of basic simulation and explained the process of what a mesh is actually for. In this case, we're just going to leave the mesh factor exactly where it is, right in the middle. There's no necessary reason to go coarse or fine. So if you want to see more reasons about why we might go coarse and fine, check the video out in the top corner there. Okay. So I'm just going to tick there. That'll create a mesh. So we've got our mesh on our model now. Now, once we've got our mesh, I'm going to run the study. Give it a couple of seconds. And the study's run there. So now I've got a couple of options if I wanted to. I could run an animation. Just see it do an animation of what's going on. I'm happy with that. I also, for the final thing it's asking me to do, is find out the factor of safety. So if I go into my results advisor up at the top and go new plot, and I can find the factor of safety value here. So if I just click on that, give it a moment, and select tick there. And I've got a factor of safety value coming up here of 3.9. So that's the factor of safety for this model. Okay, so that's it for the modeling Mania tutorial for 2019. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. If you have, please like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye now. Model.